Alright guys, welcome to this launch video for the inner circle, as you can see here. So this video is going to consist of what's been happening with the YouTube lately regarding the launch of the inner circle community, but also what improvements has been made to the new blueprint, right? And I think we're actually going to start with that. So let's go to the blueprint here. So there's a lot of changes that has been made to the blueprint, but you can sort of sum it up with the fact that the trading has gotten much smarter. So we're, for example, now staying 1 to 2 reps shy of failure instead of always going all out to failure, which is more sustainable and leads to fewer injuries. I obviously got golfer's elbow which is the first injury I've ever had, by just constantly pushing myself to failure over and over again. So by that, and by also reading through the scientific literature, I learned that, hey, staying 1 to 2 reps shy of failure is actually just as good for, arguably even better for hypertrophy than going all out, because you recover better. But it also decreases likelihood of injuries, right? So training is much smarter, and it's also just way better structured than beforehand. And obviously the blueprint, which was a docs document before, has been moved to School, which is the platform where the inner circle is going to be hosted. I'm gonna get to what the inner circle is exactly in a couple of seconds, or what it consists of exactly. But training, so it's all been moved here, the blueprint. And it's far more orderly now, for example. So beforehand, you had like the entire midsection of the document was this sort of jumbled explanation of, of volume and frequency and intensity, which are the 3 big variables. So I was sort of trying to explain how do you structure your training, like what to look for. And I've just simplified this to 3 simple points. So it's way more structured than before. So there's only really 3 things you should look at, or you can look at in a lot of ways when it comes to structuring your training. How much do you train? How often do you train? And how heavy and hard do you train? And that's sort of it. Like, there's nothing outside of this. So that's sort of the entire midsection is now way more orderly. There's also been added an entire section on hypertrophy versus strength, because I was if you look on YouTube, there is ways to get stronger faster than the blueprint allows, because we're primarily training for hypertrophy with the blueprint, and that is explained in here. So if you're wondering, you see these YouTube videos with people increasing their chin-up strength super fast, that's because they're training for strength. And there are minor differences between hypertrophy and strength, although they're typically closely correlated. So as you get bigger, you get stronger. As you get stronger, you get bigger. That was what was described in the old version, although that's not that's 100% true all the time. That's not necessarily true. They mostly follow along each other, but there are slight differences, which are explained in this page. And those are some of the changes that's been made to the training portion. But what I'm most happy about is the changes that have been made to the nutrition portion. And obviously most things are still the same from the old version to the new version. Although I'd say probably 80% of it has been rewritten. So it's been made way easier to read, way smoother. It just reads way better now. But the thing I'm most happy about is the changes to bulking and cutting. So before, bulking and cutting probably made up 90% of the complexity of the blueprint. Whereas, so it made up I think it was 15 pages in the docs document. Now, I think it's about 5 pages or something like that. So it's been simplified 3 times, you could say. So now it's way better. And it's just as good as beforehand. It's just been made way simpler. So in a lot of ways, it's far better. So instead of doing the whole plateau calculation thing, eating 200 calories above, 400 calories below, blah, 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 you now just eat an amount of food that leads to a certain amount of weight gain a month, and eat a certain amount of food which leads to a certain amount of weight loss a month when cutting, right? And that's bulking and cutting, the simplest. This is calories in versus calories out. That's what it all comes down to. And then there's also more flexibility. Like you don't have to do chin-ups, push-ups, and squats as me. The more important thing is just to do the movement pattern. So you do a push, a pull, and a squat, right? Then the specific exercise selection is a minor point underneath that. Although those chin-ups, push-ups, squats are obviously great exercises, and that's also what I recommend as standard. But you don't have to do that. Also, under sleep, which was quite rigid. It was like you have to go to bed at this point every day, wake up at this time every day. That's also been more relaxed because it doesn't really matter whether you wake up 30 minutes late one day, wake up 30 minutes early another day. You see what I'm saying? So things are more flexible. Things are far simpler, especially nutrition. And there's also a lot of visuals, and way better visuals than beforehand. So, for example, you have the visuals over the chin-up, which muscles are trained, progressive overload. How does the progression cycle work? Obviously, bulking and cutting. How to track your stuff. What does a plateau mean? The transitioning from bulking to cutting and vice versa. Strength during the cut, etc. There's just a lot of visuals that help you explain what the text lays out, which helps greatly with understanding and stuff. And as I explained before, the entire thing has also been rewritten slightly, like 80% of it. The information is the same, but it just reads way better now, I'd say, in a lot of places. So those are, and there's obviously also a lot of other changes. 4 circuits instead of 3 circuits, increasing your strength on the back offsets on set 2, 3, 4, and the chin up. Or on the push-ups and squat, obviously also counts as getting stronger. That was also something that wasn't mentioned. And then there's a lot of other smaller minor changes I'm not going to get into, or improvements I'm not going to get into in this video. But as I explained, the blueprint is now not a docs document anymore, or a PDF document. It's part of the inner circle. And the inner circle is the new school community, which consists of the blueprint, which is a complete system for training, nutrition, and sleep, plus unlimited access to me for questions, feedback, and accountability, and as a bonus, a community of like-minded individuals on the same journey. And the second point is really the important bit. So I thought about how, when you join the inner circle, you can obviously choose to just join, read the blueprint, and leave. That's up to you. But ideally, I want people to stick around, not only for my own sake, but also for other people's sake. Because you can read the blueprint and not implement it, sort of understand it, but not implement it over time. And that's sort of what we're going to make sure by having that direct chat access to me. So it's not just going to be for questions and stuff. I'm also going to, ask you how it's going here and there, et cetera, et cetera. And you can obviously also use the community tab for that, so you can post your feedback here if you want to. Obviously, in the beginning, it's not going to be very active because people are hesitant to post. It's probably just going to be me posting over and over again. But over time, I'm hoping that will develop a bit of a community. And that's also something I've seen this when you join school, you get access to this, like how to actually run a successful school community. And it explains how you shouldn't force things. Like things will develop over time. Things are slow, and the best school communities sort of develop gradually over time and develop a culture, But the blueprint is for guys only, so I've totally removed the the female aspect of the blueprint because I couldn't make the blueprint work for women, unfortunately. It just so happens that for guys, focusing on the fundamental calisthenic bodyweight movements just happens to sort of train your body perfectly. That is not the case for women. So women are typically more focused on the lower body, right? And if you want to do like a hinge movement, for example, where you like a deadlift or a bend over or a Romanian deadlift, so on and so forth, you just need a bunch of weight. So it's just far more complicated to train for women even if you want to keep it as simple as possible. So it's only for guys now. And that's also because literally 100% of my viewers are guys. Obviously, it doesn't come as a surprise. So that just makes it a lot simpler in a way. So it's for guys who want to get jacked, strong, and fit in the simplest and most efficient manner possible. And not for guys who sort of want to maximize everything, right? We're trying to maximize results with minimum, time, money, equipment, etc., etc. So we're trying to maximize results with the minimum amount of stuff, right? In the beginning, I'm limiting the amount of people who can join to 10 spots because it's a brand new. I have no experience with running a school community, so I'm gonna start out slow, see how it goes. Like how much time do I have to spend with each member in terms of the questions asked, etc., feedback. Yeah, so I'm starting out slow that way so that we don't get overwhelmed and everything just fall apart into an incoherent mess. So yeah, once those 10 spots are filled up, I'm going to be closing it for now. It's obviously going to open up in the future, most likely. But I don't know when exactly. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. And obviously some people are going to abuse this, but that's probably only 1% of people. There's 1 to 2% psychopaths in any given population, So some people are going to sign up, read the blueprint, and leave, and then ask for a refund. But if most people, if they're happy with the blueprint, they're not going to do that. If they choose to not stick around and sort of get support from me and accountability and stuff. And you can obviously cancel anytime. There's no binding period or anything like that. So saying that's sort of it. The community is very simple. When you enter, you obviously get introduced to this page when you click the link in the description if you want to join, where you can sign up. If you sign up, you get access to the community or the inner circle immediately, I think. And then I'll send you an automatic message will be sent out from me that just explains that you have to start here. So you read through the start here post, and there's only really two things to do. You head to the classroom, read the blueprint, and then we work together over time to get your results. And that's sort of, then there's the community aspect as a bonus where we sort of post and encourage each other, etc., etc. But those are the two primary things. And in a lot of ways, working with me afterwards, or us working together to get your results, is sort of where the real work begins. Because, treat the blueprint like a book. Like, you can read through any self-help book or whatever. If you don't implement it afterwards, you might as well not have read the book in the first place. So the real work is implementation, and then the training and sort of tailoring the blueprint exactly to your needs, so that we increase the likelihood of you sticking to it, enjoying it sustainably, consistently into the future for as long as possible, because those things are the most important factors, is consistency and time. No matter which fitness approach you choose, it's going to take a long fucking time. Hence that second portion here, working with me over time, right? That's the entire point in it being a subscription platform, you see. Yeah. And my goal is to teach you everything I know as fast as possible, or not as fast as possible, but over time, at your tempo, teach you everything I know, because there's a finite amount of things I know, and I don't know everything at all. But once I've taught you everything I know, which I don't know how long that's going to take, and I'm just sort of repeating myself, and you can sort of predict what answers I'm going to give you, well, then you have extracted all knowledge from me, at which point you can leave the community if you want to. You can also stick around. I would appreciate that, but it's up to you. So it's not like a community you necessarily have to stay in forever, unless you want to. But yeah, there's going to come a point where you hopefully have learned everything I know about getting jacked, strong, and fit in the simplest and most efficient manner possible. And that's really, if you want to sum up this entire thing, it's just a community of people getting jacked, strong, and fit in the simplest and most efficient manner possible. And here you have all the information you need, all the foundational information you need. And then we're going to tailor to your needs. That could be in the chat room. You can obviously chat directly to me, or in the community. And sort of, if you run into challenges over time, we're here to help. Accountability, blah, blah, blah. That's sort of the entire thing summed up. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're interested in the inner circle and joining the inner circle, it sounds very dramatic, but it really isn't. Then you can sign up in the link in the description. It's obviously also going to be linked in all future videos moving forward, as well as in my YouTube bio. So, oh yeah, and in terms of the community stuff, as I mentioned in my post yesterday, all the future blueprint and practice stuff is also going to be posted in here. And I think that's sort of what's going to kickstart the community stuff, is just me posting my workouts, how it's going, what I'm thinking, and then hopefully I encourage other people to do the same over time. But yeah, we start out super simple, and that's also a thing. You got to remember, I don't have any experience running a school community, although it is very simple. But it is work in progress, you know. But that's what they say creates the best communities over time. So if you join, this is not some fucking streamlined, perfect experience. It's gonna be bumbled. But if you join, you gotta understand. Like, hopefully you're in this for the long run, right? Those are the people I want in the most. Because you have to if you want to get results in fitness. It's like we're in this together, to get you jacked, strong, and fit in the simplest and most efficient manner possible. See you inside.